Hello. We'll start the actual class in 2 or 3 minutes. Just thought I would come on camera and say hello to you. So lovely to see some of you here. I'm going to put this forward. I don't know if it's scientifically accurate, but I believe the more brave amongst you are here because there's an option to be here in the Zoom room, which feels a little more personal, maybe a little more intimate. And other people maybe take the path where they can just receive and they choose to watch it, because thanks to our wonderful, amazing Neil, this is also live streamed on YouTube. So some people are watching it there. So we've got other people watching it along with us that won't necessarily be in the Zoom room with us. And the beauty of the way Neil so kindly and graciously sets this up is that the live stream on YouTube can then be saved, and people who aren't able to be here live with us can watch that later. So just heartfelt thanks from all of us to you, Neil, for your wonderful service to the Dharma and to our hearts. If you are here in the Zoom room, Neil has put in the chat box, if you wish, it's not at all necessary. And a lot of you who've worked with me for a while already have a copy of this sadhana. But if you're like most human beings, you may not know where you put it. It's like that old joke. I finally got it all together and then I forgot where I put it. But Neil has put in the chat a downloadable PDF of a meditation on Chenrezig, which is the practice I'll be using today. You do not need it with you by any means, but you may wish to download this for later. After this class, you may want to print that out. If you're someone who likes to follow along with the words that I'll be offering in about half an hour, I'm going to do some teaching first, and then we're going to do a Chenrezig practice. First, I'm going to tell you what it is, if it's something you're not familiar with. But there is, in the chat box on Zoom anyway, and thanks again, Neil, for that, a PDF you can download for now or for later of the practice I'll be sharing. Now, Chenrezig is a practice that is open to all beings. You don't necessarily need to have had the empowerment from a lama. So that's why I'm sharing this publicly for you. Marie says she doesn't see the download link. I see it loud and clear on mine, but I'm on my laptop. So Neil will Neil will attempt to handle that. And if there's any difficulty getting the practice, again, a lot of you have it. I've handed it out here, might have been a year or two ago or more, but that's absolutely fine. You might want it again. And if you can't get it today, that's less important than if you'd like it for later, then we can provide it to you in an email or something. But Neil may or may not be able to solve the tech. It partly depends if you're on your phone or something, it may be trickier. We have not begun class yet. This is preamble. So in a moment, I'm going to ring the bell, start with an aspiration, and move into the class itself. And Neil, just FYI, I see it in the chat, no problem on my laptop, and I can just click on it and download it. But that's why you're that guy, not me.
I'm going to try to set it as a link as well, so that if they click on it, it might also work as a backup.
Sure. Thank you for that. And again, don't worry. This is like us over delivering super bonus content. Half an hour ago, I sent that to Neil. I said, if it's possible for people, they might want it. Don't worry if it can't work. So taking a breath, settling in. I will ring the bell. Lovely to see Marie and Rod. Cheryl, Becky, Martin, and Patrick are being incognito, but welcome. Teresa, hello. Haven't seen Teresa in a little while. Shelley, wonderful. Kim, lovely. Neil. And then we've got another group of people watching on live stream. So what a joy. What a joy. And notice there's a very lovely white orchid over my shoulder. Thank you, students. And an elephant to remind us of the simplicity of what's under all of this that we attempt to uncover and embrace. So we will now more formally begin the class. For the sake of all beings, may there be wisdom and compassion. May we continually remember over and over to dissolve the clouds that are the temporary obscurations over that light of loving kindness and compassion. All right. So welcome. Everybody here on Zoom, I've met and know fairly well. If you're watching on the live stream and we haven't yet met, welcome. My name is Cheryl. And as part of Island Dharma out in Nanaimo, BC, Vancouver Island, Canada, if you're from far away, we generally have an advanced Dharma class once a month, and it's usually here at my residence. And today, for a variety of reasons, we needed to move it online. And so it's just a joy that some of you who might not have been able to make your way to our lovely Dharma abode are able to potentially be with us in a different form. Thanks again to Neil for being an absolute stalwart supporter of the Dharma and of me and of all of us by making the tech work for the most part. If anybody can make it work, he will, but sometimes tech says, I don't think so. So today, what I was intending to do here in my home with the advanced group that gather here once a month is what I'm now bringing to you online. We're going to do about a 45-minute or perhaps a bit longer practice in about half an hour. Those times are approximate. Of a beautiful meditation from the Tantric tradition, from the Tibetan or Vajrayana tradition of Chenrezig. This is part of the lineage within which I study and to some degree am trained, both from the Theravadan, more Thai, Burmese, Vipassana, Hinayana lineage is one of the lineages of my root teacher, and the other is through the Kagyu, Vajrayana, and also Drikung Kagyu lineages in the Vajrayana. If those words are unfamiliar to you, no problem. Let them fade away. Because I'm now going to teach a little bit in a general sense about why one would practice what is also sometimes called a tantric meditation. No, that doesn't mean getting naked and having some great hippie sex. That's been a co-opted version of the word tantra. So it's neither good nor bad, but it's not what we're teaching today. Tantra is drawn from the Sanskrit word, and in English translation, one of the translations is to weave or to bind. So we can think of it as a way to work with our energies in our body. You can think of qi in Chinese medicine, prana in yogic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, called lung in Tibetan, subtle energy bodies in acupuncture, in acupressure, in what is now more westernized Chinese medicine. We work with the energies in the body. Do you all relate to this simple phrase? Sometimes it feels like my energy's low. Right? You all intuitively know what that feels like. Don't worry about how you conceptualize it. Do you have other times you say, wow, I've got really good energy today. I feel bright. I feel focused. I feel really interested in the world. So the word tantra, when we say to weave or to knit together, many ways to interpret that for today. I'm going to put it out as, what if we're weaving together our body, the energy of the body, how we think of what is Cheryl, what is Neil, this body, this sense of self. We weave that with the imagining of a different type of body, a body that is completely free of suffering, a body that is completely luminous, symbolically, maybe literally, and it can act in skillful ways in the world with love and compassion. And we weave that together with the mind. So I'm going to get into this a little bit more in a moment, but I think it's time for us to all get down with ourselves and get honest and answer the following question. Answer this privately to yourself. In any typical day, let's just take yesterday or this morning, depending what time zone you're in. It's just after 10 a.m. here, Pacific time zone. What were the predominant sorts of thoughts in the mind? Were they, oh, I wanted to have porridge, but I'm out of milk. Darn it. Were they, oh, I'm so upset that my friend said that thing to me yesterday? Were you thinking about things that are unpleasant or difficult? Were you being concerned with, maybe worrying about decisions you need to make? What was the predominant theme or many themes of your thoughts? What about yesterday, Saturday? Were there certain worries or griefs or upsets or irritations? that you thought about how much of our thinking in this conceptual mind is about me and my plans and my hopes and dreams and the things that I don't like and the people that I don't like and the things I'm beating myself up about because I should be better at, and so on and so on. What if in tantric practice we can weave in, we can pretend, we can make believe, we can practice having a mindset that is free of all that, a mind that is filled with nothing but wholesome, useful thinking thoughts, concepts about liberation, concepts about the complete release of grief, depression, despair, anxiety, a mind that is free of all the mental suffering that plagues many of us much of the time, a mind that is turned toward, turning the thoughts toward kindness, wholesome thoughts, positive thoughts, helpful thoughts, thoughts of others, maybe more than we think about ourselves. And as a psychologist, I want to also contextualize that in a secular Western sense. I don't mean throw yourself under a bus and don't think about your needs. That's not what I'm saying. That's neurotic, punishing, and nothing to do with Buddha Dharma. I'm saying, what is it like? Because you've all had this experience. What is it like when your mind is thinking positive or helpful thoughts about others and less focused on me, 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 me? When the mind is, gosh, I'm so excited for my friend. They've moved into their new house. I'd like to take them a little Buddha statue to decorate their yard. Doesn't that feel good? When your mind is turning towards your grandkids or someone at work that did a really nice job on that project, and your mind turns toward how you're proud of them and you feel happy for them and you want to make sure you let them know, I'm really appreciative of the extra attention to detail. How does it feel when the mind is thinking wholesome, positive thoughts about others? Contrast that with how it feels when the mind is thinking self-referencing, unkind, worried, selfish, painful thoughts about me. Very big difference. You all know this in your heart and in your mind. So the body in Tantra, I'm going to explain this a little bit more. We practice with emptying the body out of our literal aches and pains and this solid sense of self, because it's the self that is me that I protect. And I have those nasty thoughts about others who I think are hurting me or are stupid or have ridiculous political views. Rah, rah, rah. Anger, aversion. This isn't very kind and compassionate. That doesn't mean we should accept dangerous, harmful, unwholesome views, but can we approach them with compassion and wrathful compassion and strength instead of hatred and anger, which is the old, trying to get revenge is like drinking the poison yourself. How can we empty our body? How can we empty our mind out of the usual conditioned patterns? Underline that mentally. The usual conditioned patterns of Neil's usual type of thinking, Kim's usual type of thinking, Cheryl, Richard, Shelley, Marie, Rod, any of us here, Patrick, other Cheryl, our usual conditioned patterns. How well are they serving you? How well is it serving you to wake up and have your first few thoughts be, oh God, I've got so much work to do. Or there's those seconds, maybe milliseconds where we wake up and everything's fine, right? Even if you've had a death in your family, there's a few seconds upon waking where you wake up and you're fine. And then the concepts and the story rush in based in reality. If my grandparent has died yesterday, I wake up this morning and there's a moment of grace. And then there's, oh, my grandmother's gone. And with that, the cascade of suffering. Right? So we all know what it's like to be free of the thoughts that hurt. Weirdly, to a lot of us, not so weird to a lot of you watching here in Zoom, but weirdly to a lot of us, your grandmother's death yesterday doesn't hurt at all when you wake up and your mind is free of clinging to it. And then it rushes in and probably some grief, some tears, some sadness, some anxiety comes. That's not bad and it's not foolish and you're not weak and you're not dumb. These are the conditioned patterns of the mind grasping for the thing that a moment ago didn't exist because we hadn't pulled it into the mind. And the mind often seems to do that without our consent. But in the moment of grace, before that concept, before that memory, before the story that goes with it, I wish Granny was still here, there's no suffering. In that moment, there's grace and there's no suffering. Don't worry, I'm going to get to why we practice Tantra, because it's very much, I hope, related to what I'm sharing. And then we're going to practice a beautiful practice of helping challenge our conditioned patterns, helping the mind to think about positive things. So back to the question I posed, what did you think about yesterday that wasn't helpful? Would it have been more helpful if you could have replaced the thoughts in the mind with wholesome, beautiful thoughts of grace, thoughts of, celebration? It's like the odd time, I don't watch the news, but the odd time in a magazine or something, I might come across a happy news article. The person who heard meowing down a well and found a mama cat with a litter of kittens and saved them all, and they're all happily bouncing around. And it just warms our heart, doesn't it? How about you switch your mind more often? I'd like you to do it all the time, but like you, I'm not an awake Buddha yet, and I can't do it all the time yet. Please surpass me quickly. But what if we changed the channel to the positive news channel a lot more often? Can I have a heck yes on that? What if we could change the channel from the unkindness a family member is showing toward us to the beauty of the friend who showed up with a special type of tea today because they knew we were struggling? And we could change the channel. I'm not going to keep reading and rereading that negative news article about my friend who betrayed me, my friend who's being unkind to me, my friend who's spreading rumors about me that I feel hurt by. You might need to do some work and some tenderness and some healing on that. Like I said, I don't want you to abandon your needs. But what happens when we switch the mind to the good news channel? The good news channel of an orphanage in Mexico that got a huge grant and was able to rescue a lot of children who were on the street and give them homes and give them education and take them on adventures. Doesn't that warm your heart? We can utilize the Tantric Tibetan Vajrayana practice to practice changing our mind to the good news channel. Except this good news channel is the world's best news channel. It is the best news in the universe ever, multiple universes, in the multiverse channel, because this is the channel of no suffering. This is the channel of boundless, infinite love, loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. Seeing things clearly as they are. Grandmothers eventually pass away. They die. Their mortal body collapses and ends, as do all of ours. This is the truth of what is. On the Great News channel, the Holy Great News channel, the Mahamudra Vajrayana channel, the news is liberation. The news is how can we live an abundant mental and active life, meaning action on the behalf of others and ourselves, compassionate acts, being of service. How can we do that all the time? Well, by practicing to move away from, in the Vajrayana practice we're going to do for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, I don't know. We're going to practice having a mind that is filled with love, compassion, and wisdom, the three keys to having a fully awake Buddha mind. We're going to practice having a body, despite its aches and pains and injuries and syndromes, that is a body of light, that is a body of radiance. And we're going to practice words, that's where mantra comes in, that are about kindness and compassion. Whether you know what the syllables mean or not, I'll define the syllables. That's not as important, because here's a typical mantra I'm sure some of you will relate to. Rewrite it according to your special mantra. But the mantra might be, I'm so lonely and I don't like living alone. The mantra might be, I'm never going to be able to get a job. The mantra might be, I don't know what I want to do today. I feel kind of depressed. What are the mantras we already rehearse, not on purpose? We're not crazy masochists. We don't sit down first thing in the morning with a cup of tea and say, today I'm going to repeatedly tell myself I'm worthless. These are the patterns that can arise over a life. These are the patterns. But boy, oh boy, people, when we come to this practice and think, seems kind of weird to chant some syllables that I don't know what they mean, That's a good observation. It does seem kind of weird. So what I hope I'm doing right now is busting the myth that it's just some ritual from a foreign land that doesn't really have much meaning. You could chant, I don't know, hullabaloo, 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 hullabaloo all day long, and it'd be a far sight better for your mental health and well-being than what you're chanting. I'm not good enough. I'm so mad. Oh, I didn't need groceries. Blah, 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 blah. So I love that teaching, that things that might seem mysterious or we're not sure, why would this help? I hope I'm helping in this introduction to say it helps to put something wholesome in the mind and chant that. Run some wholesome patterns. Turn your mind, your speech, and your body to the good news channel and practice the very good news. Why are we here? Well, I mean that on two levels. I mean that, why are we here on the planet? A very good existential question. And why are we here on this Sunday morning, gathered together online? And or we would have gathered together in person, some of us, which we'll do next month again. And I'm going to put forward a very simple answer. You can all have your own answers that would, I think, hopefully be umbrellaed by the overall answer. We're here to remove afflictive mental suffering. We're here because we want to feel better. And that's a wise and a noble and a sensible and an intelligent goal. I don't want to feel depressed or sad, do you? I don't want to feel angry, jealous, or resentful, do you? I don't want to feel fearful, anxious, overwhelmed, do you? Of course not. As previously mentioned, we're not crazy masochists. We don't want to suffer. How many of you suffer? Right, all of us. All of us. We're here because whether we are consciously directing ourselves to know we want to reduce suffering, the way a lot of us are that have been in the Dharma for a while, or whether it's just an inkling, a feeling, you heard about this class and someone said, oh, I enjoy it, I find it worthwhile, and a little elephant whisper, there's an elephant over my shoulder here, there's elephants all around the house. A little elephant whisper, I'll call it, says, hey, Bob, hey, Juanita, I don't know what this is all about, but I kind of feel like I want to take a listen, because the wisdom inside you wants a better story. It wants a better channel. It wants to suffer less and love more. And I don't mean that because some people get a bit weirdly triggered by the word love. Oh, that's kind of soppy. Is it? Is it soppy to love, to care, to stop and move a little bird further away from the road? If it needs moving away from the road so it doesn't get squashed, is that sappy? No, it's just compassion, just love. It's beautiful. If there's a cynical voice inside, that is a conditioned pattern, and certainly many of us, myself included, can have that. But notice if there's a bit of love, bleh. Well, call it something else if you like. Call it metta. That's the Pali word, and it doesn't have the same associations for an English speaker. Loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. Let's practice that good news. And we practice it in the Vajrayana practice, the Tibetan style of some of the practices within the Tibetan lexicon, by deliberately putting more wholesome things in our mind, more wholesome thoughts, more wholesome imaginations, more wholesome visualizations, more helpful verbal, external, spoken words and quiet words running in our head than I'm a loser, it'll never work, I hate everybody, I feel sad, I'm lonely today, oh, I'm so bored, I don't like my job, and the usual mantras. And with our body. So I've touched on that. I've repeated it a couple of times. I hope that felt helpful. We're here to remove afflictive suffering, to train and practice so we can help ourselves and others, underline, and others out of mental torment. I want you all to think about a friend or an acquaintance you know right now in your world who is struggling. For any reason, anxiety, they've been broken up with by their spouse, they've lost a pet, they've broken their leg, they've had a diagnosis, could be smaller, could be their car got bumped into yesterday and has a big dent in it and they're frustrated by that, whatever it is, doesn't matter big or small, don't judge. Think of someone that you know who's got some mental torment or mental dis-ease, or mental sadness or upset. And if you contact your good heart, you probably feel a little bit moved about that. That's a beautiful thing. You feel like, I really wish that wasn't happening for my friend Teresa. I feel a bit sad, a bit moved. That's compassion. And what might you do? You might drop by a box of chocolates. You might call and say, hey, do you want to go for a walk? You might want to send a card, maybe even in the mail. What a delight that can be. It's unusual now. That just says, hey, I just want you to know you're not alone. I love you. This is compassion. This is natural. You're all good at it when we get out of our own way. But it's awfully hard to feel that authentically and to act upon it authentically when we're subsumed with our own suffering, grief, and fear, right? Anybody disagree with that? We're a much better version of ourselves when we're able to get out of our own way and notice others. So we're here for our own mental suffering, but in Buddha Dharma, it's always, always, always about helping ourselves and all sentient beings. So we're also here to help others out of their mental torment and move from bewilderment or ignorance to clarity. That's a larger teaching. Many of you are familiar with what I'm referring to. To some of you, it might be a newer idea, but the wisdom of seeing the truth of things as they are. Death is part of the deal, everybody. We have mortal bodies. And when we fight against death, when we rail against death, when we scream and yell that it is so tragic, the tragic death at 88 is one of the dumbest phrases that's ever been written. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It can be sad when someone dies at 88, but sad in the natural course of things. This word tragic, the tragic death of David Bowie. He was in his 70s. I wish David Bowie hadn't died because he seemed like a cool guy and did beautiful music that I think could move our hearts. But tragic, tragic, tragic. It's like death, death, death. It's the most absolutely for sure thing ever, more than taxes, because you can evade taxes or go off grid or something. And I'm not just on a soapbox here, but think of how, at least in the West, for the most part, popular media, whatever that is, refers to death as tragic instead of death, right? Think about that. Think about that. No one here gets out alive. So clarity, the bewilderment is, oh, it should all be easy, or, oh, it's terrible that the 88-year-old died. It's terrible that my marriage has ended. It's terrible that my friend won't talk to me anymore. These things can certainly hurt our good hearts. Certainly, we may need to practice a lot of self-compassion as we sit with losses, as we sit with endings. But the more we remember the clarity of wisdom, the wisdom of seeing things as they actually are, it can at least soften the pain. Let's go with the death of an 88-year-old loved one. It can be very sad. You might cry and really miss this beautiful being. Hopefully, we will then go celebrate them with a celebration of life. And I'm not saying one shouldn't grieve if you're a good Buddhist. That's just foolish. But to hang on to all this, it's tragic, it's terrible, this never should have happened. If only I could have had her around so much longer. This is that difference that some of you are very familiar with the languaging around, the difference between the pain of change, of impermanence, and suffering. Can we be gentle with our heart and at ease with these changes and suffer far less, which beautifully, everybody, allows us to be more available to others who are maybe clinging even more than we are. A couple of you here in this room have so beautifully shared in some of our small groups your own journey around a death process with a pet, and even with a very close family relative, one of the most important people in your world, and how the Dharma helped a lot. Did it take away the pain of the loss? No, but it helped a lot to place it in the natural flow of things, to really celebrate the moments, the days, the months we had left, if it was a death that wasn't out of the blue, super unexpected, as some deaths are. And to be in that moment of grace while we have it, without grieving the tomorrow where we may not have it anymore. Dharma is incredibly helpful for why I believe, and people far wiser than I believe, we're all here, which is we'd like to reduce, ideally eliminate mental suffering, and we'd like to be able to practice so we can be more available for others and move from bewilderment to clarity. So I wanted to do a little exercise right now to kind of prepare the vessel for the Chenrezig teaching, and I'll talk a little bit more about Tantric practice, and then we will just do the work. And whether you fully understand each step or not, no problem. Trust the process, go with the flow. the exercise is this right now. You can settle just as you are, maybe adjust your posture a little bit, that you're comfortable and supported in your posture, ideally. And I want you to visualize your body as a clear, sort of luminescent white crystal vase. The vase can be any shape that arises for you. You might wish to close your eyes for this little exercise and little meditation practice. And really imagine your body as it is, the flesh and blood and beating heart and the clothing you're draped in, dissolves away. And instead of a Cheryl or a Neil or a whomever, what is now sitting on your cushion or chair is a vase. It can be life-size, it can be smaller, just whatever arises is perfect. And I want you to really define in your mind's eye the shape of that vase as best you can right now. And it may appear opaque white. It may appear like opalescent, like an opal, kind of creamy white, but reflecting a bit of rainbow. It may be crystal clear, like an actual crystal vase. Whatever arises is just perfect. If something slightly different arises, go with that. And imagine that currently this vase is empty. It's filled with shunyata, with emptiness. There's no flowers in it, or no liquid in it, no collection of pebbles, just beautiful, radiant space. And now, without overthinking this, just allowing it to arise in answer to the question I'm about to pose. What would you like to fill this body vase with? What would you like to fill this body vase with? Well, here's a Dharma suggestion. Fill it with the symbolic and powerful image of luminous, sparkling nectar of compassion and loving kindness. Fill it with something that might look like milk or bubbly water. Fill it with opalescent, luminescent liquid. This is the light of loving kindness and compassion. And if other wholesome images arose for you, flowers, pebbles, tiny little stuffed elephants, you can absolutely fill those in there too, floating in this glistening, opalescent liquid of loving kindness and compassion. And as best you can, imagine that your flesh and bone body has melted away, and the body is this vase filled with enlightenment liquid and perhaps other symbols of positivity, of kindness and compassion that arose for you. And then we'll just add a little piece to this. As you are, I'd like you to just place your awareness, your attention, your concentration on the breath at the nostrils. Simply being breathing, but for a few moments to inhabit your vase, crystal body filled with milky or crystal clear liquid, perhaps some beautiful symbols. The nose, not nose, the nostrils, not nostrils. We'll just meditate for a few moments together in this vase body, breathing in, breathing out, gently placing the attention at the nostrils. So with a body of vase-like light, with a mind and attention focusing simply on breath, let's just add in a positive phrase in the mind. Let's use loving kindness and compassion as a mantra. And for just a couple more moments, with your hollow liquid body, the gentle movement of breath, in your own mind, repeat loving kindness and compassion a few times. Replace the less helpful words or thoughts or concepts with those words. Loving kindness and compassion. Loving kindness and compassion. And just staying with that. If you're new to this practice, we could say that that's a full tantric practice, staying with it. You've changed your body to something more luminous and awake. You've changed the conceptual words to something wholesome, based in liberation, loving kindness and compassion. And you've brought the attention to the movement of energy, here in a more literal sense, the breath. And I'm going to move now into a practice of Chenrezig, a bodhisattva of compassion. If you don't know what that means, that's A-OK. I'm going to show you a picture here. Think of these tantric deities or like an archetype. So if you went to a weekend to try to really be able to uncover an important goal for yourself and do a wonderful job of moving toward that goal, maybe a fitness goal, a work goal, whatever it might be, you might take on an archetype like Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, battling the dark forces and winning. Symbols or figures in great literature and movies and poetry that have a path. So in the Tibetan practices, this is Chenrezig. This is one of my favorite images of Chenrezig. A lot of you who come to Maple Bay have a copy of this, believe it or not, because I gave you this photocopy of this. This is my original. I don't know where I got it. And the sadhana. And if you've misplaced it, we can send it to you again. But here we see this beautiful figure. And we see the symbols of Om Mani Padme Hum. I'm not going to break that down for today's class, but we may take a deeper dive into it later. For the actual practice, I don't think there's really a way, Neil. I wasn't able to find, I don't have a digital copy of this that I was able to send you. And I don't think it'll work if you take a screenshot. It'd be nice if people could see this through the practice, but we'll just use our mental, emotional, and I'll hold it up the odd time. I'm going to teach as though you're reasonably familiar with Chenrezig from now on, but if you're not, this is a symbolic figure of probably hundreds in the Tibetan meditation, Vajrayana Diamond Path meditation, which represent qualities. So like an archetype, we can think of Chenrezig as an archetype of boundless loving compassion. This may help ground it in present day for some of you. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is considered to be an embodiment of this Chenrezig energy, loving kindness and compassion, however you think of that. But I think it's enough teaching for now, enough, not concept, what's the word I'm looking for? Enough. Can't think of the word. It's on the edge of my mind. Context. Enough context for the practice for now that we'll move into the practice. So the Chenrezig sadhana I'm going to use today, which we can get to you if you'd like it. If you weren't able to download it, no problem. We'll figure it out later. You don't need it in front of you. You can close your eyes and follow along, usually the most recommended way to practice anyway. This is a version of a beautiful Chenrezig practice that I particularly favor. I believe it was from Kalu Rinpoche, but please don't quote me on that because the version I found at the moment doesn't have the lineage on it. I know my other version does, but I couldn't seem to locate it this morning. But this is one that Namdra Rinpoche taught, and this is written down verbatim from his teaching and his leading of a Chenrezig practice. So the base of this sadhana came from the Lama. He received it too, that I will get that name to you. But then Namdra Rinpoche, in his ineffable way, added a bit of commentary to it. He added a bit of explanation through the sadhana to, I would say, for many of us to help bring it more alive. So there's a little more teaching in it that I find very helpful, and I find it very helpful for people who maybe aren't as familiar with Vajrayana practice, and even those of us who are. So without further ado, I believe I'm going to let this sadhana speak for itself. So I won't take asides to do double teaching on what some of the lines might mean. We can do that in a future class and with pleasure. So this is the meditation on Chenrezig, the Bodhisattva of great compassion. Having prepared properly for meditation, first one should take refuge in the traditional form of the refuge tree, with faith in the teachers and all those who've gone before, and a great yearning for shelter in the midst of samsara. One should believe that refuge can be obtained. And this is the Kargyu refuge prayer, the one I learned first and is still, I must say, most dear to my heart. I'll say it in Tibetan and then in English. Halden lama dampa lama nap chapsu chiyo yidam chilkorji latso namla chapsu chiyo sangje jam tende namla chapsu chiyo dampe chu namla chapsu chiyo pape gendan namlu chapsu chiyo pao kandro chuso song meso yeshi jishanden dampa namla chapsu chiyo. To all the glorious holy lamas, we go for refuge. To all the assemblies of the yidams in the mandala of the yidams, we go for refuge. To all the Buddhas, the Bhagawans, we go for refuge. To all the holy Dharma, we go for refuge. To all the exalted Sangha, we go for refuge. To all the assemblies of Daks, Dakinis, protectors and guardians of the Dharma, possessing the eye of true supreme wisdom, we go for refuge. The refuge tree is visualized in front and above you with Guru Rinpoche seated in the middle part. In front of him is the dancing Yidam figure. To his right is Shakyamuni Buddha. Behind him are the books of the Dharma, and to his left is Chenrezig Bodhisattva. Around all this is a ring of fire, moving clockwise, visualized while saying the last line. It can happen that the meditator becomes the tree, with Guru Rinpoche on your head and the other figures arranged around you. Then one should think as follows. May all beings, my mothers and fathers, through the great wholesomeness of this practice, be freed from suffering. For the sake of all sentience, may I come to the realization of that great compassion, which is inseparable from all the activity that stirs to the depth of samsara. It is for this purpose that I am practicing this meditation. Now, turning awareness within, one should contemplate the essential emptiness of one's being, seeing the space rather than the molecules of form, from the top of the head to the soles of the feet. All feelings, sounds, thoughts are like wind blowing in space, emptiness moving on emptiness. One can repeat the mantra of emptiness of Shunyata. Om Shabawa Shuddha Dharma Shabawa Shuddho Om Shabawa Shuddha Dharma Sabawa Shuddho Om Sabawa Shuddha Dharma Sabawa Shuddho while visualizing the hollow vase body. From the emptiness, a shimmer of energy above one's head forms into a lotus in full bloom, radiant and beautiful. In the center of this lotus, there appears a moon disk, laying flat and radiating moon-colored light. The light swirls above the moon disk and forms into the Tibetan letter Hri. Hri, 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 Hri. Commentary from Namjul. It is said that Chenrezig, the compassionate Bodhisattva, appeared from the white force field of a Hri sound, while the Buddhas of all times called upon him to help sentient beings. The Hri can be visualized as shining white light, which emanates rainbow light. Rainbow light is of 5 colors: white, red, yellow, green, and blue, and it appears as white. If you wish, I'm holding up an image of a Hri syllable on a moon disk and a lotus. You can, of course, visualize H-R-I-H, Hri, as well, or simply a white pearl on a moon cushion in a lotus, radiating light. Rainbow light, appearing white, radiates out from the Hri in all directions as an offering to all the Buddhas throughout time and space. The light returns, converging upon the Hri, carrying with it the blessings of all the Buddhas. Again, there's a pulsation of light moving out to the universe, bathing all manifestation. When this light returns, all the seeds of karma, the desires for action, are purified. All disease, unwholesomeness, pain, and obscuration are empty, void of meaning, and oneself and all others are freed from suffering and established in happiness. Then the Hri dissolves into light, and this light coalesces into the form of the 4-armed Chenrezig, who is the essence of all refuge. And I'm holding up, and we'll continue to hold for a bit, an image of Chenrezig. He sits in the cross-legged or Vajra position, upon the white moon disk and the lotus. His body is radiant, the color of newly fallen snow in bright sunlight, and a rainbow light shines from him. He is holding a jewel between two of his forearms, positioned at his heart center in an attitude of prayer. The second right hand is holding a crystal rosary, and the second left hand is holding the stem of a white lotus, the blossom of which is near his left ear. He is clothed in the finest of silk garments embroidered in gold. His body is adorned with a superbly jeweled crown, beautiful earrings, necklaces, bracelets, anklets, and a belt with small tinkling bells hanging from it. The golden brown skin of a now extinct antelope called Trinisara drapes over his left shoulder. Part of his hair is bound up in a knot on his head, while the rest falls freely over his shoulders. Above the crown on Chenrezig's head sits a small figure of the Buddha Amitabha, the Buddha of boundless light in Nirmanakaya form. Chenrezig's back is supported by a full moon without stain. The three jewels, Om, Ah, Hum, reside in Chenrezig, and he emerges as a unity, the complete fusion of these three, plus all forms of refuge there might be throughout beginningless samsara. He is looking with greatly compassionate eyes, smiling lovingly at you and at all beings. He's always watching over each and every sentient being with a heart filled with loving kindness, immutable in his care. Now, with great sincerity and personal integrity, concentrating with reverence on the Chenrezig, one prays to him. As you are praying, so too are all sentient beings. All manifestation is united together in prayer to Chenrezig. Namjul says, if you wish to do a formal prayer, you can say, we pray that you will liberate us, the 6 classes of beings who now completely rely on your compassion from the endless wandering of samsara and suffering. Guide us to stainless wisdom and compassion. Pray until you feel moved in your own stream of being, keeping a sense of the presence of Chenrezig. So for a few moments, just in your own words, imagine this radiant white archetype and ask in your own way, please help rinse away all defilements for myself and others, that we may be radiating loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. You're asking your own elephant, your own awake Buddha nature, to step forward through the clouds. Having prayed and requested liberation, assistance to liberate the light inside, from the sacred body of the most compassionate one, Chenrezig, there emanates a white rainbow light. This light comes from the whole body of Chenrezig and from the Amitabha Buddha seated above his head, but it is especially strong from Chenrezig's heart. Immeasurable and inconceivable white light pours from the Chenrezig, pervading the entire universe, inner and outer, bathing and purifying all creatures in creation. The outer realms are made inseparable from Dewa Chen, the Pure Land paradise of Buddha Amitabha. All the beauty, sights, sounds, smells, etc., of joyous nature are here. And one now begins to say the 6-syllable mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, which translates into English, Om, the jewel in the lotus, Om. Along with all sentient beings, and from the multitude of throats comes a sound like the droning of 1,000 bees. If you have a mala, please utilize it. If you don't, same, all is empty. And together we will say auditorily, out loud, together, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And in your own time, in your own way, I suggest you be vocalizing. If you'd like to unmute yourself, you may, or you may stay muted, but be vocalizing for the first part. Say this out loud. And I'm going to do a bit of a rhythm, and then I'm going to speed the rhythm up, and you can do your own rhythm. You can sing it, you can play with it, replace the usual mantra of I am lonely and sad with this beautiful, enlightened set of syllables. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And you can keep going with that silently while I read the next beautiful part of the meditation. And then we'll return to the mantra while we work with this next beautiful part of the meditation. And I'm actually going to play a beautiful variation of this chant, this mantra, while we work with the next piece of the meditation. So in your mind's eye, as I'm reading the next part of the practice, you're still mentally saying, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And here we get beautiful extension of the meditation. So we're imagining above our head is the lotus, the moon cushion, and Chenrezig. You can visualize Chenrezig as a giant white diamond or a giant white pearl, if you wish, or with the features that have been described and that many of you are familiar with. And imagine now that white rainbow light continues to pour forth from the heart of the Chenrezig. You feel this white light entering the crown of your head as it's also entering the crowns of the heads of every sentient being and washing through the body, permeating your entire being. As the light fills your being, all unwholesomeness resulting from body, speech, and mind is and all our activity motivated by ignorance, hatred, and delusion is made whole, including the 5 inexpiable actions: killing your mother, killing your father, killing your spiritual teacher, causing injury to the awakened, and causing division in the Sangha. The worst actions of karma that cause the most destruction and pain are made whole with this focus on light, on compassion, and on healing. So together, I'm going to play now a beautiful variation on the Om Mani Padme Hum by Dewa Premal. Some of you will be familiar with it, for about 6 or 7 minutes. And you can chant along with her song or silently while visualizing, pouring into the crown of your head, healing energy washing through, making whole your hurts, your history, cleansing conditioned patterns, supporting you in all beings toward liberation. All money, pay me home. All money, pay me. All money, pay me home. All money, pay me home. Worry about the ad on YouTube. There we go. Oh, money, pay me home. 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 Imagining that beautiful Chenrezig or beautiful luminescent vase of liquid above your head, pouring down from Chenrezig's heart, healing, cleansing, liberating wisdom, entering the crown of your head, moving through your body, soothing, healing, and melting away the obscurations, the defilements, the confusions, the hurts, the conditioned patterns that are not skillful. Oh, money, pay me home. 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 Money, pay me home. Oh, money, pay me home. You can continue with the mantra silently in your mind while I move on to some more beautiful teachings to expand and deepen this practice. Imagine now in your heart center, there forms a 6-petaled lotus. In the center of this beautiful 6-petaled lotus is a beautiful white Hri symbol. And on each of the petals, there stands one syllable of the mantra. So imagining as best you're able, a 6-petaled flower in your own heart center, your luminous, white, radiant, crystal body. And imagine, and you can, of course, put the English letters on there. Om, O-M, Ma, M-A, Ni, N-I, Om-Mani, Pe, P-A, Dme, D-M-E, Hum, H-U-M, Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, Me, Hum. On that white lotus, and continue repeating the mantra as you imagine these 6 syllables. You can think of them as 6 pearls radiating from your heart. Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. And I will show you, no need to look if you'd like to stay eyes closed, a representation of the 6-petaled lotus in the heart with the syllables on each of the 6 petals. Om, ma, ni, pe, me, hum. Om mani pe me 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 hum. Continuing for a few moments on your own with a silent recitation or an out loud recitation of the mantra, focusing on warmth in the heart center, this 6 petals, and radiating out from your heart is the next phase of this beautiful meditation. Now in your heart center, there forms a 6-petaled lotus. In the center of this is a beautiful Hri syllable, and on each of the petals there stands one syllable of the mantra, Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, Me, Hum. And imagine these 6 syllables each radiate out in a 360-degree full circle from your heart. The 6 colors of light radiating out to the world, the kindness, the compassion, the wisdom, the healing, and the strength of Chenrezig. Om mani pe me hum. 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 And as you imagine this flooding out around the planet, imagine that it purifies hatred, confusion, evil intent, which is based in confusion. It purifies heartbreak and sadness and clinging and anxiety. It purifies all suffering, pouring out from our heart, pouring out from the hearts of all sentient beings to heal all beings and the planet. Om mani pe me hum. 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 And now visualize these 6 colored rays of light, 1 from each of the lotus petals in the heart, 1 from each of the 6 syllables of this powerful mantra, has shown the light out to the world, cleansed and purified. And now visualize the 6 kinds of light returning to the Hri syllable in your heart in the middle of the 6-petaled lotus, which shines with a diamond white light from the center of the lotus in the heart. As the light returns, it's absorbed into the Hri and purified. And we finish a few more mantra, imagining the light from the world, from creation, flooding back into your own good heart and being purified. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Now all the purified outer realms, all of purified sentient beings and the planet are now absorbed as light into the rainbow body of the Chenrezig above your head. We now move on to the dissolution phase and Mahamudra. So the Chenrezig above your head is flooded with all the light of manifestation, which absorbs into this figure above your head. Then imagine that Chenrezig figure or that giant diamond or vase begins to shimmer, to dissolve into light, and that light is now dissolved through the crown of your head, merging into your crystal body, your vase body. The room around you, wherever you're sitting, dissolves into light and is absorbed into you, your shimmering, hollow, crystalline body. Now your body now dissolves from the toes upward, the fingers upward and inward, and from the crown of the head downward, becoming light that's absorbed into the lotus in the heart. Imagine your body, each cell turning into a cell of firefly light and being absorbed into this 6-petaled lotus in the heart, until hovering in empty fullness and shunyata is this multicolored 6-petaled lotus with a Hri in the center. All as is empty fullness. Then the 6 petals and the mantra are absorbed into the shining white Hri at the center of the lotus until that's all that remains is a Hri floating in shunyata of diamond white clarity. That Hri, you can think of it as a diamond in space, if that helps, begins to dissolve and become smaller and smaller. It begins to shrink and dissolve until only a tiny pinpoint, a tiny dot of light remains. Radiant. All of manifestation, all of healing, all of awakening, all of elephant, contained in that tiny dot of light. And then that dot dissolves into the clear, empty space of mind, of Mahamudra, of empty, full awareness. And we rest there. After having rested in the essential natural emptiness for some time, united with the mind of the Supreme One Chenrezig, free from viewing and viewed, inseparable from emptiness, having abandoned all concepts, without concern for duality, deity, or mantra, the form of Chenrezig reappears in a flash. Whatever reappears is the face of Chenrezig. All manifestation is the body of Chenrezig. All sound is the sound of the 6-syllable mantra. All activity of mind and concepts is the essential emptiness of Dharmakaya. Carry this thought with you throughout your daily life. Then, considering the lack of clarity and confusion that may still remain, one should consciously state the sharing of the wholesomeness of this practice with all sentient beings, and make the vow that one will continue to strive for purity of knowledge and compassion for the sake of all beings. With this aim, one prays to Chenrezig, the greatly compassionate one, to continue to look upon you and all other beings with loving care. Moving towards a dedication of merit. By the practice of this strengthening activity, this beautiful practice of Chenrezig, loving kindness, compassion, may there be a cessation of the defilements. May the clouds of confusion, selfishness, arrogance, greed, hatred, and delusion melt away. So the shining elephant light of our inner knowing, our inner wisdom, our inner empty full compassion may shine forth, so we may take action in the world motivated by loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be never parted from the joy of wishing well for self and others. May we all dwell in equanimity, moving with the tides of change with as much grace, self-compassion, and forgiveness for self and others as we are capable of. Sarvamangalam, Sarvamangalam, Sarvamangalam. And just resting for a moment or two with whatever's arisen or not arisen. Through this practice of literally practicing, pretending, faking it till we make it, to change our mind to the good news liberation channel, to be less attached to this self by imagining the body as a radiant vase of light, to purify our intentions and actions towards kindness and wisdom, even when dealing with someone who's acting very poorly out of their own confusion. May we all be well, may we all be happy, may we all be free from suffering. May we live more cleanly and clearly. May we let go of the various junk that doesn't serve us or anyone. And when it gloms back onto us, may we practice to let go again and again and again. I'll end with a Tashi prayer that we enjoy sharing. May the day be well and the night be well, and the midday hours bring happiness too. May the day and the night always be well, and by the blessing of the triple gem, may all be auspicious. I'd like to thank you all so much for your kind attention. I very much look forward to gathering with you next month back in person here in Maple Bay, but thank you for gracefully switching plans. We'll announce in the next couple of days. I believe our next meeting will be on Saturday. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but it's the 12th or 13th of May, whatever the Saturday is. It's the day before Mother's Day. I think the 13th. But it will not be at 10 a.m. I have another teaching I need to do at 10 a.m. We'll meet at 1 o'clock. We'll have an afternoon meeting, practice class, and probably tea and cookies, coffee and cookies. We'll confirm that in the next couple of days via email. And we're also working on a summer or very early fall retreat possibility that we'll be able to let you know about very, very soon as well. But for now, what would it be if we move through today, remembering every 5 minutes, every 30 minutes, white body of light, replace whatever mantra starts playing. Oh my goodness, I have nothing for lunch, might be a mantra, with oh money, pay me home, or loving kindness and compassion. If we did that 10 times a day for 1 minute, imagine what it might do if 10 times a day for 1 minute, we replaced whatever the word mantra in our head was with loving kindness and compassion. Sure as heck not going to hurt. And I can almost guarantee it's going to help. Thank you so much. Thanks again to Neil, to all of you that are part of the committee and helping Island Dharma bring these teachings and gather us together in all sorts of forms for more wisdom, more compassion, and more loving kindness. We will send you some of those resources and images if you like. No doubt Neil and I can figure that out together. For now, go forth and don't conquer. Go forth in love. Bye for now.